Okay, folks, Wager Detective back at it. November 21st, 2025. It's 9 a.m., 8:59, going on 9 o'clock in the morning here from Tropicana, Atlantic City. We're going to get into this Kansas versus Iowa State game and break it down for you. As we get into this, as Wager Detective likes to do, you're getting an inside glimpse at what Wager Detective University is like. And all the little tricks and secrets that I'm teaching you are nothing. They're tip of the iceberg of what Wager Detective knows, but as you see here, we're gonna jump right into it. Kansas versus Iowa State. All time, they're 23-15 at home. They're 18-2 on the road. They've won 3 in a row against Iowa State, but they're 3-7 in their last 10. And as we can see here, they won last year in Kansas 45-36. The year before that, they won in Ames 28-21, and then the year before that, they won 14-11 in Kansas. But after that, they lost 7 straight. So in their last 9 versus Iowa State, they are 0-3, 0-4, 0-5, 0-6. They're 3-6 in their last 9 versus Iowa State. The plus-minus differential over those 9 games is minus 16.6 points per game. Average score is 55.2 points per game. Last 5 at Iowa State, they're 0-5, losing by an average of 25 points per game, and the average score is 56.6 in those games. I will let you know that Kansas, their last 15 conference road games, they are 4-11. Plus minus over those games is minus 6.8 points per game. Average score 61.1 points per game. Last 9 road conference games for Kansas, they are 4-5. Their plus minus average over those games is minus 1.33 points per game. Average score 54.9. If we get into Iowa State, last 15 home conference games, they are 8-7. And their plus minus over those 15 games plus 3.8 points per game, 49.9 points per game average. Their last 9 home games versus conference plus 5 points per game average on their plus minus differential. Average score 54.3. And Iowa State last 5 home plus minus differential plus 6.2 points per game and 53 points per game average in those games. So off the bat, just from that, I'm leaning towards Iowa State off those metrics between the head-to-head and their last 15 home road splits. All right, let's get into it. Let's take a look at what Kansas has done this year. Led by Lance Leopold, pretty decent coach, right? 64-66 overall. He is 27-33 at Kansas. And in bowl games, he's got a better win record than loss. He's 3-2. He won the Guarantee Rate Bowl back in 2023. They weren't bowl eligible last year. And no matter what happens here, let me see here. Even if they lose this game, let's take a look at their schedule. They play Utah next week at home. Oof. So this could be a crucial game, because if you lose here, I don't think you're going to go to Utah or go back home and beat Utah. Anything's possible, but this is a big game as far as bowl eligibility. And if we look at what they've done this year, they do have the 45th toughest schedule in the nation. And they are on the road 0-1, 1-1, 1-2, 1-3 on the road this year. So a little bit better at home than they are on the road. Let's take a look at their stats. They pass the ball 29 times a game, but they run it 36. So they're +7 in the amount of times they run the ball to pass the ball per game on the year. Led by Jalen Daniels, having a fantastic year, 21 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Man, this kid, you'll be seeing him on Sundays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6th-year senior. Okay? He cut down on the turnovers. He led the conference in turnovers last year, but he totally, having by far his best year at Kansas, and he's going to look to keep it going here. Jalen Daniels, kid's fantastic, man. Having a great year. What do they do on the ground? Who's getting it done? LaShawn Williams, 6 rushing touchdowns. Jalen Daniels has chipped in for 3. They got 14 on the ground and 21 in the passing department. So even though they run the ball more per game, they got more touchdowns through the air than rushing. Receiving, Emmanuel Henderson, 5 touchdowns, receptions. Bowden Groen, 4. Those are the main guys. Who's getting the looks there for Jalen Daniels? Levi Wentz has got 2. Defense. What do they do? 66 tackles for loss, 24 sacks. They got 4 interceptions, and they got 8 forced fumbles. So, pretty good defensively. Look at this. Kicking. 35 for 35 for Laith Marjan, and he leads the conference in field goal percentage with 93.3% and leads the team in points with 77 there. Okay. Punting the ball, we have, looks to be Finn Lappin with 33 punts, 46 yards per punt there. So, not bad. Special teams, okay? 1 and 3 on the road. They pass for more yards on the road than they do at home. But rushing, look how far it goes down. Rushing yards per game. 204 yards per game at home, and then 92 on yards per game rushing on the road. So significant drop-off there. And then also a significant drop-off in yards per game. 431 at home to 324 on the road for total yards. Okay? Now, against the Big 12, offensively, they pass for 220 yards and rush for 150 for an average of 374 yards per game. Okay? Their first downs are coming primarily or more by the pass against the Big 12 than the rush by about 1 a game. And then defensively, they give up 334 passing yards a game and 261 rushing. So we know they can't rush on the road, this year. Significant drop off. And then they're getting, you look at what they're doing, they get 220 passing yards a game and 153 offensively. But then defensively, they're giving up 210 passing yards a game and 192. So they got about plus 10 yards per game against the Big 12 passing, and rushing 153 to 192. They're about minus 40 yards per game there. Okay, let's take a look at Iowa State. So we look at what they're doing here. They're 1 and 3 in their last 4 games against pretty decent competition, but getting crushed by exact scores against Texas Tech and Kansas State. Exact score 17 to 42, and then they beat Oklahoma State, and then they lose to Arizona last week. So they're having a rough go of it, beating UCF and Oklahoma State in their last 2 wins, and then they beat up on West Virginia. So not really looking good there. We take a look at Matt Campbell, Iowa State, 3-time Big 12 Coach of the Year. Okay, and he's 70 and 55 at Iowa State, so he's having a good go of it. We look at his bowl record: 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 2-3, 2-4, 3-4, 4-4, 4-5, 5-4 in bowl games. He won last year's Pop-Tarts Bowl. and he's looking to get in the college football playoff this year. Let's take a look at Iowa State, what they like to do. Okay, Iowa State, they pass the ball about 30 times a game, and they rush the ball 38 times a game. So both these teams like to run the ball more than they do pass. Here, Iowa State is +8 in their rush to pass per game. So they're right on par with what Kansas does. They were +7 rush to pass, as we've seen in the breakdown. Okay, Rocco Becht, 12 touchdown passes to 9 interceptions. We already know that Kansas has the advantage in the quarterback by far, not close. Only 12 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. I mean, Kansas is looking good there, man. Let me tell you. On the ground, Rocco Becht makes up for it with 8 rushing touchdowns. Carson Hansen's got 5. They got 20 on the ground this year. And then receiving, they got 12. Led by Benjamin Brahmer with 5. Okay, nobody leading the conference. No bold lettering there. Defense and fumbles. We got 51 tackles for loss, 10 sacks. They're not getting a lot of quarterback. They do have 9 interceptions. And they got 35 passes deflected, 6 fumble recoveries. If we look at what they do, punt returns, yards, Aiden Flora leads the conference there with 207 yards, 41.4 yards of return, and he's got a punt return touchdown. Kicking, we got Kyle Conrady, 11 for 15, 85.7 on the extra points. So obviously with Kansas, we got the better field goal kicker too. So better punt returner, better kicker, better quarterback. Okay, let's see what they've done. Take a look at their splits here. Okay, they're 3-2 at home. They've lost their last 2 home games against conference, -14 and -5 in those last 2 home games. Take a look here. So at home, they average about 245 in the air and 154 on the ground. And against the Big 12, they're averaging 228 through the air and 161 on the ground. And then what are they giving up to the Big 12? They're giving up 256 through the air and 160 on the ground. Man, if I'm looking at this, man, and I'm keeping an eye, and we know Kansas lost last week, and Iowa State's coming off the only thing that scares me in this game is their head-to-head for Kansas. They're 0-5 in their last 5 at Iowa State, losing by an average of 25 points a game. That ain't going to happen here, guys. Let's get one thing straight. Jalen Daniels is going to give them a fighting chance. And Kansas on the road is getting better. I mean, they're 4-11 in their last 15, but they're 4-5 last 9, 2-3 last 5. I think Lance is getting Coach Leopold is getting a little bit better here. And if we look at these teams, I mean, defensively, Kansas looks to be a little bit better. All the metrics are lining up. And I know they got Rocco Becht, but he's got 9 interceptions and only 12 touchdown passes. So we look at Jalen Daniels, he's got 21 touchdown passes and only 3 interceptions. I mean, come on, man. We got the better field goal kicker with Kansas. We're getting 3.5 on the road. And I mean, if we're looking at this game outside of the head-to-head, but Kansas has won 3 in a row, so things are looking up for them. Man, it's a tough call. I want to see if anything else stands out. As much as I like Matt Campbell, I mean, he's never really impressed me. I mean, they did have that stretch this year where they lost. Look at that, 4 in a row. Cincinnati, you lost to Colorado at Colorado, but still, that's a loss. BYU, all right, they're 11th in the nation. And Arizona State, You lost by 5, and then you beat TCU last week by 3. I'm going to take a look at the game logs here. You got 13 turnovers on the year, and 9 of them are by interception. And then defensively, you do create turnovers. They have forced 6 turnovers in the last 2 weeks against Arizona State and Texas Christian. If you don't get those turnovers, do you even win the game? I mean, think about it. Your defense saved you the last 2 weeks, and you got 15 turnovers on defense, but 6 of them have come in the last 2 weeks. So, and do you even win those games? I can't imagine you winning against Texas Christian if they have 1 less turnover or even have no turnovers. And then you lose to Arizona State, and they had 3 turnovers that game, and you only turned over the ball once. So if I'm looking at this game, guys, I'll be honest with you. I was leaning towards Iowa State based on the history, but I'm basing it off the fact that I don't believe that they're going to win this game. I mean, the more I look at it, and 3.5 seems safe. I was wondering why that line was dropping, but the metrics are starting to become more and more clear as I look at them. I think Kansas has the better defense. Coach, maybe not the coach, but I mean, it's not much of a difference. I mean, if we look at it, I don't think that, Matt Campbell's a good coach. Don't get me wrong, 6-4 this year. They had that stretch where they weren't playing good. You got to kind of wonder, is Matt Campbell maybe looking towards another job? I mean, I look at this, Jalen Daniels, man, come on. I got the better quarterback. Lance Leopold, he's not bad, man. I mean, 14, 19, and 11, 19, 18 in his last 37 games. They've had a tough schedule this year. Not really, but kinda. I mean, you played Arizona, Oklahoma State, Kansas State. You got crushed. You got crushed by Texas Tech. Anybody will get crushed by them. Oh, it's a sticky one, guys. It really, really is. I mean, let's take a look at the spread here. 55.5 is the total. It looks to be a little bit high, but I think both these teams are going to score. But I think Kansas is definitely going to get theirs, man, in this game. I don't see them getting stopped in this game. I think they got enough guys over there that can get it done, and they're coming off a loss. I'm going to take a chance and say here that Kansas, the Jayhawks, get it done. They don't have an overall great history over their last 10 versus Iowa State, but I think coming off the loss last week, and Iowa State coming off the 3-point win at TCU, and you look at the wins. I mean, the teams that Iowa State played in the last couple of weeks turned the ball over 3 times apiece in each one of those games, and they won one and lost one. And the one they won last week versus TCU with 3 turnovers really was the factor in the game. Obviously, they only won by 3. So if I'm looking at this game, I got the better quarterback by far. I got the better field goal kicker. I got better special teams, and I got better defense. So give me Kansas to cover the 3.5, and don't be surprised if they win the game. As far as an over-under, I could see this getting over based on garbage time points if one team's ahead by a lot. But even if Kansas is down, they're going to score. And if they're down late, they can always come down and, cover that spread or win the game outright. So that's going to be the call here. Wager Detective, about an 18-minute cap here, 19 minutes. We're going to call Kansas plus 3.5 to go into Ames and possibly win outright, but cover the spread. This is Wager Detective. I would lean the over in that game as well. So that's the call here. November 21st, 2025 from Tropicana, 9:19 in the morning. Wager Detective is calling Kansas to cover the spread plus 3.5, possibly win outright against Matt Campbell and the Iowa State Cyclones. I'll talk to you soon.